we didn't actually believe that this was reality, but unfortunately for everyone, it is reality. And it's about the Halo series. The Halo series, from the very beginning, just the trailer, I remember, Jeremy, you got pushed back because you said
Last Jedi vibes.
Last Jedi vibes.
Yeah.
The trailer just seemed like it wasn't really Master Chief. Like, it was focused on a lot of interesting things that we didn't think we would need to focus on in the first trailer. And this show has been worse than anyone could have ever predicted.
I mean, I watched the first episode and completely checked out after that. So yes, I made a video about it, and I'm not saying I'm the only person that was criticizing it before it came out, because clearly a lot of people were, but there was a lot of, I had people making videos about me. You know, it's like, oh, he's just so desperate to connect anything to The Last Jedi because that's how he built his channel. And I'm like, no, like, watch the trailer. You're right. I would love to connect everything to The Last Jedi to get more views. You know, spoiler alert. But the point is when I watched that Halo trailer, it gave me Last Jedi vibes, and I got a lot of kickback on that. And a lot of people made videos on that, and I'm pretty sure none of those people are going to make follow-up videos to, you know, tell everyone how right I was, but I was 100% right, as so many other people were. And it's because we've seen this happen and play out time after time after time after time. And you can see the elements within the trailer every single time. And what we've learned from this series now, again, I watched the first episode and I hated it. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't even hate watch this. It's so bad. And so it's just gotten progressively worse through the series based on what I've heard. You know, I know Disparu's done a great job of covering this, and others. It's gotten progressively worse, but now we end up at the finale where essentially they kill Master Chief.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah, they kill Master Chief, and they basically have Cortana take over his dead body.
Yes.
What?
So here it is. And this is after first episode. The man takes off his helmet. We've never seen Master Chief's face. First episode, not earned at all. Takes off his helmet. Second episode, he's just not even in his armor the entire time. Gets progressively less like Halo as Master Chief spends more time naked than he does fully armored up. Ends up sleeping, right? Ends up sleeping, losing his Master Chief virginity. Halo TV boss discusses Master Chief having sex for the first time. There was a lot of conversation about whether or not to have Chief go to bed with Makee. And the fact that there was conversation means that nobody that's actually involved in this knows anything about the Halo series, which they basically admitted from the beginning.
Yep.
And now it's to the point where, yes, Paramount, this is from Data Racer, shout out Data Racer, who despises this show. Paramount made Master Chief commit suicide so Cortana could take control of his body to save a Forerunner MacGuffin. They literally killed Master Chief and turned him into a zombie skin suit for Cortana in this dumb show. There you have Cortana mourning the body before she just completely takes it over.
My.
After reanimating his corpse, Cortana goes on a running riot killing spree. The show finally depicted a lore-accurate Master Chief after he died, because, you know, we could only really do it if it was a woman the entire time.
That's it.
The other Spartans look confused and horrified by it all.
Again, I've talked about this before, and I'm not saying I'm like the definitive aficionado of Halo and Halo lore. Lethal Lightning, someone like that, has far more knowledge to me, but I've always enjoyed the Halo games, and I've played through not all of them, but I've definitely played through like the first 3 and then Reach, and loved the campaigns. Never was the biggest multiplayer player, but I definitely enjoyed the multiplayer. But you go back to Halo 3, Master Chief was as big as Mario. Probably not from like a global stance, but just from a gaming icon stance. Like
he was in the moment.
Yes, he was rivaling Mario. And the love for Halo was so big and so passionate. And Master Chief was such an icon. And the fact that, and I know we've had diminishing returns since that peak of Halo 3. I know there's been just things that have been problem after problem after problem with switching over to, you know, the developers and just the continuity, the lore breaking and all of that. But with all of those problems, you still had Halo in a good enough place to where Infinite came out. Infinite at first really won the player base back, and you still had strength in that community. And what they've done to this character in this show is such a level of disrespect that I don't know if, again, I haven't seen the series because I watched the first episode and checked out, but everything I've heard from people that follow this stuff and reviews that I trust, this is some of the most disrespect we've seen, which says a lot considering how much stuff we've seen disrespected over the past few years. But what has happened to Master Chief over the last several years is just, it's truly disgusting. And this takes it to another level.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one of the things that comes with the territory of, you know, all of these different streaming sites too, is that they can really just take those risks of really just shitting on a lot of these icons and stuff, even more than they can like at the box office as well. And we're probably going to see a lot more. I mean, you know, we have Amazon with their ridiculous Rings of Power show that's going to be coming out later this year as well. So, I mean, this is the direction that Hollywood sees that they have a lot more opportunity to do a lot more of this type of stuff too.
Yeah.
So,
it's just disgusting, man. And it frustrates me because if you respect what the character was, and if you respect what he's supposed to be, you can make something that could transcend the lore and the fan base itself and take it to another level. You know what I mean? Which is kind of what the Marvel Cinematic Universe did in the early phases of it. They took characters that were not A+ players. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, yeah, you can say Tony Stark's Iron Man is now, or sorry, not Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, because that's essentially the same person. But Iron Man was not Batman. He wasn't Superman. He wasn't Spider-Man. Captain America wasn't those guys. These are like B+ level characters. That Marvel elevated to A+ characters through good storytelling and respecting what they were. That's not the case anymore. But with Master Chief, like, you had an opportunity, you had the budget, you had the momentum with Halo Infinite, and they've admitted that they didn't even study the games or the lore with this show.
Yeah, and they tried to say, oh, well, you know, that was a little bit of a misquote, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's clear now that we've seen this, there's a reason that they ignored the games. It's because they didn't want to tell that story. They wanted to use the Halo franchise. They wanted to use the iconography that's associated with it, the visuals that are associated with it, to get people on board to tell their own bullshit story. And they didn't need to. Like, Cortana and Master Chief have like such an interesting, unique relationship that you don't need to do this. But in their minds, they do, because that's all these people know how to do.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point that you make about like Marvel and stuff, where they started out with these, you know, B characters and stuff like that they really just elevated in status and everything else. But we're kind of at a point now where those characters that they spent so much time elevating, they're starting to degrade now. And we just saw that with like Doctor Strange. You know, they totally degraded Doctor Strange with that film. And you know, so many others as well. So it's a weird that even Marvel is going back on that legacy that they built up as well.
Yeah. It's just, you know, it is what it is. It's not going to get any better. There might be things here and there, and we've continued to tell you this. There might be things here and there that are good, but it doesn't change the overall narrative of everything we're seeing from Hollywood. The people that are writing these shows, that are in charge of these properties, they hate these properties, and they hate the fans that made them what they were.